All right, let's talk about a problem that, every single server admin has faced at some point, running out of disk space. We're going to put together a really simple bash script that basically acts like an automated janitor for your server, cleaning up old files before they turn into a major headache. So let's dive right in.
Oh man, we have all been there, right? You're right in the middle of something important, a deployment, maybe you're saving critical work, and then bam, disk full. It's got to be one of the most common and frankly, most frustrating interruptions, and it always seems to pop up at the absolute worst moment.
So, where does all that space even go? Well, over time, our servers just collect this digital dust pile. We're talking old log files, temporary data, outdated backups. This junk just silently chews up your disk space. And it's not just about space, it can actually slow things down and even threaten how reliable your services are. But what if we could just automate the cleanup?
And that's exactly what we're going to do. Think of the script we're building as your own personal automated janitor. It just works quietly in the background, keeping your server tidy so you don't have to. It frees you up to focus on the more important stuff. It's the classic definition of working smarter, not harder.
Okay, so what's this janitor's mission? Well, first, the script checks if there's even a problem to begin with. Is the disk getting full? If it is, it goes and finds any file older than an age that you set. Then, it deletes them. And here's a key part for accountability. It keeps a detailed log of every single thing it removes. But maybe the best part? If the disk space is fine, it does absolutely nothing. Super efficient.
Okay, let's pull back the curtain and look at the script itself. And I know, a wall of code can look a little scary at first, but trust me, we're going to break this down piece by piece. You're going to see that it's really just a series of simple, logical steps that anyone can wrap their head around.
The first thing you'll see are the variables. And honestly, the best way to think about these is like a settings panel for your script. They're just simple nicknames for key pieces of info. By putting all these settings right at the top, we can easily change how the script behaves without ever having to dig through the code itself.
And here's that settings panel in action. You've got Target Direct, that's just telling it what folder to clean up. Then Threshold decides when the cleanup should start. In this case, once the disk hits 80% full. Days defines how old a file has to be to get deleted. And you even get to control where the cleanup report goes with log file. It's all right there, completely customizable.
All right, so if variables are the settings panel, then functions are like the specialized tools in our script's toolbox. Each function is designed to do one very specific job, like, say, checking the disk, or another one for cleaning up files. This keeps everything neat, organized, and way easier to read. So let's grab our main tool out of the box, the cleanup_files function. Its job is super straightforward. First, it just writes to the log that it's starting. Then it uses the really powerful find command to hunt down every file that's older than the number of days we set in our variables. If it finds any, it removes them. And then, and this is so important, it records a complete list of everything that was deleted right into our log file. Now, another key function is check disk. And okay, this line of code can look pretty gnarly, but don't let it fool you. It's just a chain of standard Linux tools working together to ask a really simple question. It's just a fancy way of asking the system, hey, for this specific folder, what percentage is full? That's all it's doing, just grabbing that one little number for us. And this is where the magic happens. This is the script's brain, where it makes a decision. It takes that number it just got and does a simple check. Is the disk usage over the threshold we set? If the answer is yes, it pulls out that cleanup tool and gets to work. If the answer is no, it just writes a quick log message saying, nothing to do here, and quietly exits. Simple, smart, and totally efficient. Okay, so we get how it works, we get how it thinks. So how do we actually put this thing to work? You're gonna love this. It takes just 2 simple commands in the terminal. That's it.
Step 1. chmod plus x. All this does is give the script permission to be run as a program. It's kind of like flipping the on switch on a new appliance. Step 2. We schedule it using a built-in tool called cron, which is basically the system's alarm clock. This line right here just tells the computer, hey, every single day at 3 in the morning, I want you to run this script. And you're done. Your janitor is officially on the clock. So let's just take a step back for a second. In just a few minutes, we haven't just solved a really common, annoying problem, we've also touched on some pretty fundamental programming concepts. Let's do a quick recap of what you've picked up and then see where you can take these new skills. I mean, look at what you can do now, what you understand in a real-world script. We use variables to build that settings panel.
We used functions to create a toolkit of actions. We used conditional logic to let the script actually make smart decisions. We even built in logging for an audit trail and a safety check. These aren't just abstract ideas anymore, they are powerful tools you've seen in action.
And what's really cool is that our little script is just a starting point. You can totally build on this. What if, instead of deleting files, you just moved them to a backup folder? Or what if the script sent you an email alert whenever it had to run? You could even create an exclusion list of important files it should never, ever touch. The possibilities here are really only limited by what you need.
So that brings us to the big takeaway here. You've just seen how a handful of code can completely automate a tedious, nagging problem. And that's really the whole point of scripting, right? So the real question I want to leave you with is, now that you see how simple it can be, what's the next tedious task you're going to automate? Thanks for joining us.